Hello, you are welcome back. In this tutorial, we want to start to create our tables in our banking DB database that we have created in the previous video. So we have 4 tables that we are supposed to create in our banking DB database. We have the registered customer table, we have the registered staff table, we have the withdrawal table, and we have the deposit table. In this video, we are going to start with creating the registered staff table and the registered customer table. So we're going to start with registered customer table first. Now it is when users come and input values from this interface, and those values will go straight to the database in our WAMP server. That is the idea of what we want to achieve in this particular video. Now the first thing, as I've told you, I want to do now is to go straight to our WAMP server and open it and start to create our registered customer table. So it's very simple. Let's minimize this. Click on this, click on phpMyAdmin, click on the banking DB that we have created. The table name, the first table is what? Register. Let's call it register customer. Number of columns, you should have 12 columns. Then click on go. You can see it has brought the spaces for 12 different columns. So let's start to input each of the columns one after the other. So the first column I need is the account number. This one will store the account number of each of the customer. So the account number. Now this account number should be the primary key. Now a primary key table or a primary key column is a column that contains unique values, which means the values inside that particular column will not have repetitions. There won't be repetition of values inside this column, and the values inside this column will not contain null values. It means there must always be a value in this particular column. So that is the whole idea behind a primary key column. So every table must have at least one primary key column. So you come here, choose the index, choose it as a primary key. So don't forget, the generation of the account number is going to be automatic. It is not going to come from the interface, because when it comes from the interface, there is likely to be a mistake. So just make sure it is automatic. So we are going to code that during our coding session. So let's continue. And the next one is the name. And I'm going to make that to be VACA. VACA is a combination of characters. Anytime you want to store character values, for example, I am AWAL, AWWA, those are character values. Use VACA as the data type. And you put the length, let's say 100. The next one is supposed to be account address. Let's make that to be VACA also. Let's put a length of 100. The next one is supposed to be account type. Let's make that to be VACA. The next one is supposed to be age. Age is supposed to be integer because we have all numbers as our age. Int. No length. Then we have sex. That's supposed to be VACA. Let's put a length of 100 also. Let's just make it to be the same. The next one, let's say DOB. That's supposed to be VACA also. Let's make it to be 100. Okay, sex 100. Okay, now the next one I want to have is occupation. Let's make it to be VACA, length of 100. The next one we are going to have is password. Let's make it to be VACA also, length of 100. You can choose length that is lesser than 100, but I just want it to be unique, to be consistent. Sorry. The next one is supposed to be date. That's VACA also. That's the length of 100. Let's just come down. We have a picture. Let's make that to be blob. All your pictures must be in blob. That's binary large object. No length. Then the last one is supposed to be previous balance. That's supposed to be real because it's money. Anytime you are dealing with money, you either use real or you use double, which is decimal. Let's use real. Now, as you can observe, previous balance is supposed to be on this interface, because if a user does not have a previous balance, he is not supposed to be a registered customer. It means he won't be able to register. In most banks, especially in Nigeria, you must be able to deposit something in your account for you to be a registered customer. So I'm still going to come back here to include my previous balance in this interface. But let me just finish creating my table. So I'll just come down here and click save. This is not in, okay, there is one problem here. It should be the length problem. Okay, let me just check. Let's come up. Okay, there's no length here. 100. So let's just come down, click on go. Okay, save. Processing. You can see table has been created. Registered customer table. If you click on this, it will see that it has no values. If you want to check, you click on browse. Once you click on browse, to give you the values inside the table. But because there is no value inside the table, we can say that the browse button is disabled by default. So I'll be the one to be inserting values from this particular interface. It's very simple. So let's just include the initial balance on this interface so that the processing of the registration can be a valid one. Double click this to isolate this particular panel. Just expand it a little bit. Then come and drop your label. Double click. You drop. Right click to edit. Let's just say this is initial balance. So let's come and drop our text field. Double click. Drop your text field here. Expand. You right click to edit, then you clean it. Double click this again to bring it back to the interface. Then if you run this, just come to source file, right click, run the file. You can see that initial balance is now included. Very good. Let's just close this. So now in this tutorial we have completed the creation of the registered customer table, and we have included the initial balance on the registered customer interface. So the next thing we want to do is to create our registered staff table in our database. So what am I going to do? Very simple. I will go to my banking DB, come to create table. The name of the table I want to create is register staff. Okay, you can see by default we have 2 column values here. I think we have 2 columns to create here, so we can add how many more? I think we need 11 columns for this particular table. So we have 2. Click on go. 3. Click on go. 4. Click on go. 5. 6. 7. 8. Click on go. 9. Click on go. 10. Click on go. 11. So the first column I did is staff ID, and this is also going to be automatically generated from my code, and I want to make that to be integer, and I'm going to make that to be my primary key. Just come to index, choose the primary key. Okay, so let's go to track. Now, okay, let me just expand this. And the next thing is the name. Okay, made that to be primary key, don't forget. Okay, primary key. We have name, that's going to be varchar. Let me put it a length of 100. We have our address, that's going to be varchar also, a length of 100. We also have account type. Let me make it to be varchar, a length of 100. We also have age, the length, okay, integer, very good. Then we have sex, that's going to be varchar. Let me make it a length of 100. After sex, it's supposed to have DOB. Let me make it a length, okay, DOB. That's supposed to be varchar, a length of 100. I'm only trying to make it consistent, so you can choose a lesser size. And the next thing we have is rank. Let me make it to be varchar. Let me make it to be a length of 100. Then we also have password to capture the password from the interface. Let me make it my varchar, that's combination of characters, a length of 100 to make it consistent. I also have my date, and don't forget the date is going to be automatically generated from the system, so I'm going to code that from my database. Okay, let me make it to be varchar, a length of 100. Then the last thing I have is my picture to capture the person registering with the bank, to capture his picture. Okay, and every picture file is supposed to be a blob, that's binary large object. Blob, let me check for my blob. Blob. Okay, send it. No length. So in this tutorial, I've successfully created the register customer interface and the register staff interface. So we meet in the next class. Thank you very much. You are welcome. Okay, before we go, we have not really clicked on save. Okay, let's click on save. Processing. Let's come and cross check. You see the banking DB here, database here. We have the register customer table and the register staff table. Thank you. You are welcome. Bye bye.